Quisiera decirles y darles las gracias a todos ustedes por estar aquí esta mañana. También quisiera darle las gracias a LAC, al doctor Mora y la Fundación de Derechos Humanos cubana. Yo no sabía que existía una fundación así, así que fue una sorpresa muy agradable de que hayan podido hacer este evento y invitarnos a nosotros este día. Me siento muy complacida y honrada de estar aquí y de ver a Mireille Scholl de Miren Family Foundation y todos ustedes. Tengo una presentación de PowerPoint. Voy a comenzar lo que hacemos, que es lo que hacemos en FAM para reducir la incidencia de la violencia. Voy a empezar con la segunda y quiero que vayan a la violencia doméstica. Vamos a comenzar. Vamos a darle el marco de trabajo que tenemos nosotros. Desde el principio de los 80, cuando yo llegué aquí, les voy a decir un poco de los incidentes de violencia en Haití y les vamos a mostrar qué es lo que tenemos que hacer y cómo tenemos que hacer esto en Miami para reducir la violencia doméstica y la incidencia de la violencia doméstica y lo que estamos haciendo para que las mujeres estén seguras. Siga más adelante, más adelante. No voy a perder mucho tiempo porque tenemos muy poco tiempo, como 15. Quiero comenzar a decir que cuando se ve Haití, había muchas cosas importantes de la violencia sexual y sexual después del terremoto del 2010. Lo que les puedo decir es que la violencia doméstica siempre ha sido un problema.
Village, and some people may be shocked by it, but I can still remember it as a little girl. In my village, my house was right across the market, and during vacation time, I would go to my village, and I would see the women from down to nightfall working very hard in the village. And then sometimes, as a little girl, I would see the men coming with their big baton, beating them up, either because they were fighting, either because they thought that they were not working hard enough, either they thought that there was an order or that they disobeyed, because men in Haiti at that time, even now, think that women are their property. Women had the status of children until Michel Benet Duvalier, that they have the right to discipline women. That's one thing that I remember. I can still see in my mind's eye. The second that I remember growing up in Haiti in the 1950s, I was born in 1959, was that if a young man loved a young girl, oftentimes what he did, which I thought was grave, he would wait for her while she was either doing the chores or going to the farm, had sex with her, and then the family felt it was normal to organize a wedding or find a way to get them together to live together. And even as a little girl, I thought that was very, very, very harsh. So when I came here in the U.S., I started the organization. I think I'm going to need to do it. It seems like they're having a hard time doing it. I was trying to save time. Anyway, in Haiti today, the rate of violence in Haiti is twice that of the Dominican Republic, twice that of Jamaica, even if crime is lower in Haiti than in these respective nations, from Jamaica to the Dominican, its neighbors, the Dominican Republic, and other Caribbean nations, but domestic violence, surprisingly, is higher, 2 times higher in Haiti than in the Dominican Republic, than in Jamaica, than in other Caribbean nations. So the question you might ask, why is that? Why is a country that is relatively safe and don't believe what you read in the newspaper? Haiti is a very safe country compared to its neighbors. Why is the level of violence so high? Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. All right?
Entonces,
you can see the picture.
Se puede ver la foto.
2 years ago, we went to Haiti. We oftentimes go there to work on deportation issues, and then we'll mention that briefly during the presentation. And then we visited women, a lot of them victims of violence in the different camps. That was after the earthquake. So, violence in Haiti. We're going to go to the rates because we wasted a little time. Haiti struggled with violence even before the trauma and destruction of the 2010 earthquake. Violence against women is used within the family as a form of discipline to ascertain male authority, and the state also retaliates against women as a about 15 members of my family who were arrested and imprisoned during the Duvalier dictatorship. The women there were victims of violence in the prison. The Sexual Violence Research Initiative shows that the rate of forced sex ever experienced by women in Haiti is 11%, is more than twice as high as the rate in the Dominican Republic, which is 5%. The proportion of those experienced sexual violence in Haiti within a 12-month period after the earthquake is almost 3 times as high, 11%, as it is in the Dominican Republic, as compared to the Dominican Republic 4%, and almost 4 times higher than that in Jamaica, which is 3%. Other reports also have noted that sexual violence occurs at a greater frequency in Haiti. The 2000 Demographic Health Surveys deemed sexual violence, which accounted for 29% of violence cases reported in Haiti by itself, as the most form of violence there. For Haiti, all percentage involving sexual violence add up to 58%, whereas in the Dominican Republic they amount to 27%. And these stats are not surprising given that Haitian women were found to be more than twice as likely to face sexual violence as women in the Dominican Republic. Even in 2 Latin American countries reported in the demographic health surveys, Colombia and Nicaragua, physical violence only was the most common form, occupying 59%. And the manner in which men in Haiti explain violence, and then they do it even now after years of doing advocacy and education here, gives you an idea of why sexual violence is so prevalent there. Men, while talking about like the sexual act, they will sometimes talk about using violence words like well, craser en femme. I'm gonna really beat up a woman. You would think that he would be going to physically attack the woman, but he's actually talking about sex, right? Voyez boire tête calée to club non-stop. Chiré from ça. I'm gonna rip her up. He's still talking about sex. And then some of you may think, is it really happening even now? But let me give you a quick example. I was at the gym last week, and then a few men, they were talking among themselves, and they saw me coming. And one of them said, I'm going damn la, li pa vle tande, you know, I have a girlfriend, she doesn't want to listen to me. I'm gonna beat her, I'm gonna put her on her knees, beat her up, and then I will do what you just read. So I don't know if he was saying it because he saw me coming, but I'm telling you, this is still a reality here. Men usually use sexual violence as a way to subdue or to force women into discipline or to get them to do what they're supposed to do. The next most prevalent form of violence in Haiti is physical violence, accounting for 19%. And some might think that it's even higher. I think it's even higher because in Haiti most of the cases of violence are not reported because of fear of reprisal, because the authorities really do not value it when women go to report violence. They make fun of the women when they report violence. And then when the women have to go to court, and then last year when I was in Haiti, I met with several human rights organizations. They had to be accompanied with security guards sometimes. And when they get to the court system, most of the proceedings are done in French when the women, all of them, 100% speak Creole. So violence, both sexual and physical, are gravely underreported in Haiti. And then why would men batter women? Why would they subject them to violence? Some of the reasons are leaving the house without permission, disobedience, not obeying commands, talking back, talking your mind, right? Staring. Let's say that your husband or boyfriend or common law husband tells you something, and even if you don't respond, you look at him like that. This can be cause for violence. Women are perceived as abusable objects, and men generally acknowledge that it was within his right to subject women to violence. The social pressure to fulfill expectations of sexuality, which becomes internalized as an indispensable component of masculine identity, may lead many Haitian men to consider sexual aggression against women as normal. The young boys, and I know I see some of you are smiling because even here we see that, right? Boys are encouraged to go out there and be young men, court women and flirt, whereas the girls are taught to be reserved, right? In our culture, the girls should not be going out at night. When I was growing up in Haiti, I wasn't allowed to go out at night. I was 18 years old. I wasn't allowed to go to a kermesse or conference or movie. But the boys, at a very early age, they are coached, they are encouraged to go out there. As a matter of fact, if they didn't do these things, if they didn't go and court women and be tough with women and be a macho, they think that there's something wrong with them. They even have a name for them. They call them jeje. That means close to being retarded. Go figure. Right. So even though I'm not going to read all the international covenants that Haiti signed, and I know many of the countries in the Caribbean and in Latin America do sign them, but guess what? They do not abide by them. They do not respect them. They do not abide by them. Haiti has always been a very open country. Haiti has always been very respectful. For example, Haiti welcomed everybody. Hardly ever will you hear that someone is in Haiti and is a foreigner or tourist is being attacked. Hardly do you hear that. Haiti opened its door to the Jews when the United States of America was turning them back. Haiti is a very open society. So it signs, most even covenants that the U.S. still hasn't signed, the Haiti has signed. But signing them is one thing, implementing them is the other thing. Because the covenants are signed, but they are not implemented. So even in the Haitian Constitution, under Haiti's Constitution and international law, authorities are required to address gender-based violence, prohibiting discrimination on the grounds of sex, protecting the right to bodily integrity, and guaranteeing the right to be free from torture or cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. And then, like I said, it signs many conventions, but they don't respect them. My time is almost over. Okay. All right, a few more minutes. Thank you. That's good. So what do we do, and what have we done at FAM, and what do we do? Like I said, when I first came here, I volunteered at the Haitian Refugee Center, and I was shocked that even though the Haitian Refugee Center was an agency providing legal services, women were coming pregnant, with black eyes, with marks on their belly, 8 months, 9 months pregnant. So we decided to do something about it. So we, in our almost 25 or 2014, 14 years, plus the first 9 years that we worked as a volunteer-led organization, we believe that in order to reduce gender violence in Haiti, in this community and around the world, we need to improve laws and policies. We need to enforce domestic violence laws, including non-violence and equitable relationships. We need to support national legislation on gender-based violence. That's Haiti, right? That's for Haiti. We need to pressure the state of Haiti to abide by international conventions, not only sign them, but respect ellos, pero respetarlos. We need to provide protection for women who are victims of domestic violence. We need to sensitize and train judges and police, and this is very needed in Haiti. We do need to do that, and we need to improve services for gender-based violence, which is what we've been doing at FAM, and I'm going to conclude by showing you what we've been doing. I'm not going to be able to go through all the slides here, but I'm telling you that we are a one-stop center. We organize FAM in a way that when someone is a survivor of violence, she can access different services in mental health. Right? We have after school for the kids.
Tenemos programas después de la horario escolar para los niños.
A lot of them do not have cars anyway, and this is a model that can be replicated to access services. So we have programs for the kids. We also provide immigration services for them and advocacy, and we get the women engaged in the advocacy in organizing. They are part of the organizing. They do organize locally, statewide and nationally. We are getting ready to go to Tallahassee. We also travel to Washington in front of the White House. We get them engaged in being their own voice and fighting for themselves, for change, for policy change. Well, we talk about immigration advocacy, and then you see the women here. They are at the county government, and I'm about to stop. They are at the county government, fighting for affordable housing, because women who are survivors of violence, one of the main problems that they have is access to housing. And then we also work with domestic violence within a human rights framework, because we believe that every human being, and I think I'm going to have to stop on that note. I don't have time to continue with the PowerPoint. On that note, I'm going to say this, that at FAM right now, for the past 3 years, we've dealt with domestic violence, right? We've engaged our clients, because our clients not only receive services, but like I said, they are also partaking in the organizing, empowering themselves, organizing themselves, empowering the community, partaking in our weekly radio show, and then also organizing locally and nationally. But we are presenting domestic violence in a human rights framework, and last year we went to Geneva, and this is me here talking in front of the United Nations while they were reviewing the US's human rights records to show that every human being, every woman, every little girl has a right to live in a society free of fear, free of physical abuse, free of sexual abuse, free of emotional abuse, which leaves scars that last a long time. We just celebrated March 8th, which is International Women's Day. Let's commit ourselves, not only here, and I bought flyers for you. FAM is part of the 1 billion rising against domestic violence, because we have problems here too. Let's commit ourselves to create a violence-free society for women and girls in Haiti, in the US, and around the world. Because when we do that, we create and we craft a better future for us all.
Así vamos a forjar un mejor futuro para todas nosotras.